Hi, Coops from Chucking and Mosh here. Today we're joined by Outright. How you going, guys? Good. Now, you guys had a pretty big year last year. They released the debut EP and you played on a heap of really big shows, one of them being the Refuse support. How did it feel walking out to open for Refuse?
I think it was the feeling beforehand that really affected us the most, seeing the sheer size of the room and knowing what was about to happen. But I don't know, personally, once you walk out and you see that many people there early, which we were really lucky to experience, and when you do what you love with your best mates, you kind of, I don't know, some of it just disappears a little bit. You just go, we are so lucky to even have this opportunity, let's just have fun with it.
Yeah. The build-up's pretty the nerve-wracking part for those ones, but once you're out there, especially when you see faces and friendly faces as it was, it certainly helps. I mean, those bigger shows, if there's no one there or it's a really sort of not such a friendly vibe, it can actually make it a lot more difficult. So we were really lucky we went out and could just do our thing. So
Now, you guys maintain a pretty strong DIY ethic in how you go about things. Do you think more bands are going to start using the internet more to their advantage in the future rather than relying so heavily on the support of a label?
I think so, personally. It's also just readily available for bands now, like through Bandcamp and Big Cartel. You can just literally do the whole process from start to finish by yourself, or with, the help of friends like yourself who are, running websites and things like that. So yeah, I think the need for labels and things like that is still there, but for bands like this, you can absolutely continue to just release your own music, and it's easy.
The big differentiator, I reckon, is the resurgence of vinyl and digital downloads, because CDs, I guess that's where you really do need labels. Doesn't really sort of have that DIY ethic so closely attached to it. You can do it, but the online accessibility and then I guess that real sort of touch and feel of the tactile sort of vinyl sort of process really makes it perfect for that DIY combination, I think.
Yeah, and there's not the same stigma as there probably used to be on doing it yourself, in our scene especially. Like,
quite ironic, really.
Yeah, well, but there isn't the whole thing, oh, they've done it themselves, so they must not be any good. It's kind of more like, well, they've been able to do it themselves, and it hasn't affected
such a high level.
Exactly, and so that accessibility, the feeling that we're not just making music, we're creating so much more than that. We're interacting with the people we're trying to reach out to on a whole other level. It's almost grown organically within our scene, so it makes a lot of sense, I reckon.
Now, all three of you guys have been going to shows for a long time now. How would you say a show from, say, 10 years ago would stack up to what you guys are playing at the moment?
Well, we're kind of playing a lot of really different stuff. Like, we played a 50 people one week and then played a 2,000 another. So that was a one-off. And I think we've been really lucky in that, and this feels a lot like with the scene I grew up in, is that we've been able to play a lot of mixed bills, a lot of really different shows, different crowds, different venues. The launch tour for our 7-inch itself was jam rooms, pubs, youth centres,
basements,
warehouses. It was a bit of everything. So that, for me, growing up in a smaller scene in New South Wales, really felt the same. But at the same time, I think we've had to be quite deliberate in creating that for ourselves. It's with popularity, more support, and more accessibility for bands to be playing a lot more shows. It's easy to only do pub shows or that sort of thing. So I think it's been a conscious effort, but it's definitely been a rewarding one for us to keep that diversity and keep supporting different styles. We're all punk, we all come from the same energy, so that's been a really positive thing I think we've been able to keep over the years in our own experience of it.
The 7-inch came out last year, Dedication. That came out at number 4 on our fan voted release of the year. That's a pretty big accomplishment given the list of bands there. Are you happy with how it came out, and are you likely to have an album come out this year?
Yeah, we're really happy with the 7-inch as a release. It being a first release for this band, and I mean, with any release there's always hiccups along the road, so with those aside, we actually pulled something together we're really proud of on the time we wanted to do it. Allowed us to do touring on that 7-inch with everyone's tight schedules. As far as for this year, the plan is definitely to have another release where we're working towards a full length, and we've already got a handful of songs already under the belt that we're polishing off at the moment. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the time, I guess, once we start playing again in the next few weeks, because I mean already there's a lot of really exciting shows coming up for 2015, so that's
already booked on a few of them.
And that's when things get hard to write, but yeah, we're certainly working towards that.
I think the fact that the week we came back after our 7-inch launch tour, we started writing new stuff, was a pretty good momentum, so hopefully we can hold on to that.
Now you guys are booked to play Australia Day at the Reverence. Last few years it's been at the Tote, it's been a really good day and everyone's had a really good time. What are you guys looking forward to about the day?
Just a whole swag of great bands, like, you know, so many bands coming from interstate, so many people that aren't even in bands coming from interstate, just to, I don't know, raise awareness and money and all that kind of thing for something that, yeah, I don't know, is a really great cause. And I mean, Tom Jenkins has pulled it together again.
He always does a good job.
Yeah.
The support's grown every year as well, that's the other thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, the fact the other ones have been so successful draws more people this year, which raises more money for the charities and just inevitably makes the shows that much better. So,
And it's great to be able to contribute to such a positive cause in a really easy, fun way. I mean, we're just getting to play, hanging out with our best mates, celebrating some parts of our culture, of the Australian culture that we can be proud of, as opposed to some of the racial tones that Australia Day can sometimes conjure. So I think that's really self-prophecy sometimes, isn't it? You know, you can't, if you're keeping a positive attitude and doing positive things, then you're only going to have fun and you're only going to keep creating really good stuff.
It's nice to be part of an alternative culture, so at times like this where we can really reflect that, you know.
And support the people that are putting their necks out and doing a lot of work to try and, you know, make a difference for other people.
Absolutely. Thanks for having a chat to us today. Make sure you get out and see Outright play when they're playing Australia Day at the Reverence Hotel.
Yeah.